India is gearing up to celebrate the 75th Republic Day. Preparations for celebrations are underway nationwide. The focus now is turning to Kartavya Path in Delhi, where an impressive parade featuring the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Police and paramilitary will unfold shortly. A contingent of the French Armed Forces is also all set to march today alongside Indian troops, and French Rafales will also grace the skies of New Delhi in the flypast. The parade will commence from Vijay Chowk till Kartavya Path, and the venue is prepared to accommodate approximately 77,000 people, out of which 42,000 will remain reserved for the general public. And now we're getting live visuals coming in. As always, the celebrations begin with homage being paid to the fallen soldiers. You can see there Prime Minister Modi has arrived at the National War Memorial, accompanied by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and the three chiefs, the Chief of Army, the Chief of Navy and the Chief of the Indian Air Force. The Prime Minister will pay tributes to the fallen soldiers at the National War Memorial. This, of course, is before he leaves for the parade venue. This year, the guards there are commanded by an Indian Army officer, Major Indrajit Sachin, from the 6th Battalion of the Sikh Regiment. You can see there, Prime Minister, of course, will lay a wreath, will pay his tributes, and he will lead the nation, of course, in paying homage to the brave hearts who made the supreme sacrifice for the nation, who laid down their lives while defending their motherland. The Prime Minister is laying the wreath there. The Inter-Services Guard will present Salami Shastra, followed by Shok Shastra as well. Let's cut live across. Let's dip into these visuals.
The buglers sounding the rouse, and the guard commander ordering Salami Shastros salute.
So the Prime Minister there, of course, paying homage. And of course, remember, there was 2 minutes of silence also for the fallen soldiers, the brave hearts who lost their lives while defending the nation. The Republic Day celebrations always commence with this tribute ceremony. The PM there, of course, now will depart from National War Memorial. And he will, of course, quickly sign the visitors book there as well. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, you can see present there too, as is the Indian Army Chief, the Indian Navy Chief and the Indian Air Force Chief. The guards were commanded by Indian Army officer Major Indrajit Sachin, this time from the 6th Battalion of the Sikh Regiment. You could see him there leading the tributes. The Inter-Services Guards, of course, presented the Salami Shastra, followed by the Shok Shastra. Then, of course, the buglers sounded the last post. After the 2 minutes of silence, we once again heard the buglers sound rouse, and the guards present the Salami Shastra once again. Remember, now the Prime Minister will, of course, move towards Kartavya Path, move towards the saluting dais, where, of course, he will receive the French President Emmanuel Macron shortly, who is the chief guest this year at Republic Day. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, and Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, will also be present there. You can see now Prime Minister, of course, arrived to pen his comments in the Visitors book, the digital Visitors book, interestingly, of the National War Memorial. It's gone digital, like India is, in all various fields. And the Prime Minister, of course, will pen his remarks there on the occasion of the 75th Republic Day. Remember, we will, of course, very soon see the action shift towards Kartavya Path, where the parade will be taking place. There's a military band there, which, of course, will play the national anthem as soon as the President of India arrives, and then, of course, later when she departs as well. And the military band will also play the tunes of Agniveer and Kargil later this morning as well. The Prime Minister, you can see there, dressed in a traditional safa, looking extremely traditional, colourful. He's the colours that, of course, he's chosen for the occasion. The Prime Minister, of course, has got headgear from various parts of the country. This year, it's a traditional safa that we can see there, the Prime Minister wearing. And now the Prime Minister will leave for the saluting dais at Kartavya Path. Brian Thomas joins us on the broadcast. Brian, homage has been paid, tributes have been offered to brave hearts, and now, of course, focus will shift to Kartavya Path from the National War Memorial.
Yes, Uday, just now the Prime Minister played floral tribute to the, the fallen soldiers at the War Memorial. Now, if you show you the visuals, this is that very road that leads to, the very, the place where the parade is going to happen, where the parade is going to come in, where the contingent will, start coming. And if you see the visuals also, you can actually see and understand that, the entire place has been cordoned off. There have been beautifications also done in this very road, and even this very just this very moment is going to start in a while now. In about 12 minutes, you can actually see and see that the people are also going towards the ITO road, where the contingent, the march will start in a while now. And this Kartavya Path will also be closed from Vijay Chowk, and no cross traffic will also be permitted. And this will have, this historic contingent will also include 95, member band. And if we show you the visuals again, also you can actually see and understand, that how.
And we can see now the first visuals. Brian, stay with us. So President of India, Draupadi Murmu, and with her, the chief guest for Republic Day, Emmanuel Macron, the French president. The president will be leaving Rashtrapati Bhavan for the saluting dais at Kartavya Path very, very shortly. There you can see the first visuals of President of India, Draupadi Murmu, and the French President Emmanuel Macron leaving from the Rashtrapati Bhavan in the national capital. And she will, of course, be accompanied by the President's bodyguard as she makes her way along with the French President to the saluting dais at Kartavya Path.
Emmanuel Macron के साथ दरबार हाल से फोर कोर्ट की ओर राष्ट्रपति भवन के प्रांगण की ओर प्रस्थान कर रही हैं राष्ट्रपति महोदया के.
Bring in Brian once again. Brian, we are seeing visuals now. Of course, you were showing us the scenes at ITO, but right now all visuals, of course, are on the President of India and the President of France, extremely traditionally being escorted to their official vehicles, which they will go into the saluting dais at Kartavya Path. The President's bodyguard will, of course, accompany them, including the horseback officers, Brian.
Yes, definitely, Uday. They have left for the Kartavya Path. All visuals are on Kartavya Path, because just in a while, this historic moment, this historic day will start at its glory in just about few minutes now. They will reach the very Kartavya Path, and that 95 member contingent, the 33 member band, will commence with their,
The smartly turned out President's bodyguard in the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan on their magnificent horses. The senior...
Yes, Brian, of course, any moment now they will leave for Kartavya Path from Rashtrapati Bhavan, traditionally escorted, of course, as I said earlier, in the President's, along with the President's bodyguard. In fact, the traditional carriage is being used this time around. A traditional carriage is being used for escorting the chief guest and the President of India in that horse-drawn carriage all the way from Rashtrapati Bhavan to Kartavya Path. The President's bodyguard are the Rashtrapati ke Angrakshak, and you can see there, of course, they're on their magnificent bay and dark bay-coloured mounts. The President's bodyguard is, of course, the senior-most regiment of the Indian Army, and the Angrakshak have completed 250 years of service. And it is very pertinent to just point out to our viewers once again that the traditional buggy is going to be used once again after a gap of 40 years. So remember, I was telling you a short while back that the traditional buggy is back this year. It comes back after 40 years and clearly makes this day even more historic. but it is historic as it is a Platinum Republic Day celebrations. The regiment, of course, will be carrying its 2 standards, which have been presented by the Honorable President, and it's the only regiment which is permitted 2 standards. The Commandant of the President's bodyguard, Colonel Amit Berwal, will ride to the right of the President's buggy. And his horse is glorious. Let me quickly go back to Brian. Brian, the traditional buggy back after 40 years. We are seeing how, extremely ceremoniously, the President of India and the President of France will be escorted to Kartavya Path, where the PM has now arrived. Brian.
Definitely, everything is being checked, right now also after 40 years, the traditional buggy is also, being taken from the Rashtrapati Bhavan to the very Kartavya Path. So the very, celebration is very ceremonial as well, to ensure that the heritage of India is intact, is at its own glory, to show India's, glory at its full potential.
Yes.
To maintain the fact that the ceremony is on
Let me
route
also
and
quickly bring in Commodore Anil J. Singh, former Navy officer, into the discussion. We also have Captain Sanjay Karve, former Navy officer, joining us live. Major General Dhruv Katoch, defence expert, also joins us on the broadcast, even as we see these visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrive at Kartavya Path. Commodore Anil J. Singh, the parade is all set to begin any moment now. And before that, we of course will see the PM arrive to greet dignitaries who are present on the occasion. It is a very important occasion. The traditional buggy is back, but we just saw, of course, the PM pay homage to the fallen soldiers, which is a commencement of celebrations. Commodore Singh.
Yes, it is a very significant day. As you mentioned, it's the 75th Republic Day of India, a platinum jubilee of India becoming a republic on the 26th of January 1950. India is on the cusp of a transformation that should see the next 25 years transform this country into where it belongs. As far as the ceremonials are concerned, you mentioned the buggy has come back for 40 years. I know for various security considerations, etc., the buggy had been discontinued. As children, we all remember being very excited when the buggy used to come down the then Rajpath from Rashtrapati Bhavan. The President's bodyguard looks very resplendent in their smart uniforms. But we often fail to remember when we look at the President's bodyguard and assume it's a ceremonial regiment, which of course it is. But each one of the President's bodyguard is a trained paratrooper, and the regiment is an armored regiment which has a very important active combat role as well. So if India goes to war, the President's bodyguard will not remain just ceremonial. It's a full-fledged combat regiment of the Indian Army. And 2 other features of the President's bodyguard which merit mentioning are that every soldier in the President's bodyguard, every bodyguard, it has to be 6 feet or above in height, and every horse has to be 15 hands or more at the shoulder. So these are 2 significant qualifications to become a President's bodyguard, whether you're man or horse, each of which is equally important. And of course, like I mentioned, they're all combat trained. They are trained paratroopers. Each one of them is a trained paratrooper. In fact, even the officers who come from other armored regiments, it is mandatory for them to first become paratroopers and then take over command to become the second in command of the regiment. So I think it's very significant. This is a moment everyone looks forward to, the 26th of January.
Commodore Singh, I'm just going to quickly stop you because the Vice President of India has arrived there, Jagdeep Dhankar, accompanied by his wife. They have just been greeted by the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Vice President of India, Jagdeep Dhankar, and his wife have also arrived now at the saluting dais at Kartavya Path. The PM Modi also meeting dignitaries, including Home Minister Amit Shah, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud, Union Ministers Dharmendra Pradhan, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Anurag Thakur, who are of course some of the dignitaries there. BJP President J.P. Nadda also is present there at the parade venue. And now we can see, of course, the horse-drawn carriage begin to arrive at the Kartavya Path. This, of course, the traditional buggy, as I was saying earlier, is back. Major General Katoch, the President's bodyguard, accompanying the President of India and the President of France to the saluting dais at Kartavya Path. Extremely significant ceremony as always. This time it's the Platinum celebrations, and this time we have our friend France in attendance. Major General Katoch.
Yes, Uday. I think the significance, one of the significance of the buggy, which has been brought out earlier also, is that it was not used for the last 4 decades because of terrorism. The fact that it has come in now, I think, in itself sends a message that we are getting on top of terrorist organizations, and India is becoming a far more safer place than Western capitals. The ceremony, as in earlier years, is grand, and I think it is working to total 100% military precision. Uday.
Yes, absolutely. Commodore Singh, you were making a point before we interrupted you to introduce the Vice President. Please go ahead, complete your point.
No, I was just saying that, the significance of this day cannot be lost on anybody in India. It showcases India's military might. It showcases India's cultural depth. It showcases India's unity and diversity. It showcases just about everything that India stands for or has stood for since it became independent and became a republic, and something that we're all very proud of. But what I would like to also add, that while it's an occasion for great celebration, it's also a time for introspection. I think it's time for us to reflect, be proud of where we've reached, but also reflect and see where we want to be. And do we want to be the way we want to be? So I think that is equally important, and everybody does appreciate that. The future of India is bright, we all know that, and how we're going to get there is important. So I think we have to take all these factors into consideration. When we think about the Republic Day, we think about India as a republic, and what each one of us has to do to ensure that India gets where it wants to be in the next few years.
Now the theme for this year's parade is Viksit Bharat, Major Katoch. What are you most keenly awaiting? Is it the tableaus, the cultural part of the parade? Is it the military might which will be on display? A lot of the equipment, of course, signifying Atmanirbhar Bharat, as they've been made in India now. Also, of course, the 21-gun salute will happen through Indian guns this time around. Again, says a lot. What are you keenly awaiting to see today?
I think in all the Republic Day parades which I have attended, what I and by and large the general public wants to see is the military in all its splendor. You see, it is the armed forces, their marching contingents, the military bands, the Navy and the Air Force, their respective contingents. It sent that feeling of pride to all our countrymen, that we have an armed force, we have a military which is there to protect us, and they will always be there for us. We are now moving towards Atmanirbharta as far as defense is concerned. I think that will also be on display today. You mentioned about the artillery guns. That is a very great step forward, that we have become self-sufficient as far as artillery is concerned. We are manufacturing our guns ourselves. And this goes for many other issues where indigenous components have increased to a very large extent, both in the Indian Air Force, in their fighter aircraft and helicopters, and also in the Navy, when we talk of the aircraft carrier or when we talk of the destroyers and submarines which we are manufacturing. The indigenous component now is getting higher and higher. There is no way in which any country gets 100%. But we have gone very far beyond where we used to have just about 30%. Now we are closer to the 60 to 70% range, which I think is pretty good, and we are improving upon that. Uday.
Absolutely. Well, we are, of course, seeing these visuals now from Kartavya Path. The President of India, in that traditional buggy, will be arriving very, very shortly at the saluting dais. You can see the President's bodyguard, of course, accompany her. With her is the President of France, the chief guest this year at Republic Day. Commodore Singh, there will be a French contingent marching this time around. There will also be Rafale jets in the sky as part of the fly past. Also, the fact that the French President is here this year, there will also be bilateral meetings this afternoon. What does that say about India-France relations and hopefully the focus on defense ties between the two nations?
Well, India and France, the strategic relationship between these two countries has grown tremendously over the last 25 years and continues to grow. It's going from strength to strength, as we see every year. And, and of course, defense cooperation underpins this entire relationship in many ways. So we should look at it from 2 or 3 perspectives. Firstly, of course, France was the only country, Western country, which stood by us when the rest of the world was busy imposing sanctions on us after the 98 nuclear tests. France was the only country which didn't. And that really was the genesis of the strategic relationship that has developed over the years. Secondly, France has never applied any conditionalities to our relationship, which is very important. For a developing country, it's very important that the more developed country does not start imposing conditionalities, does not start, extracting its own pound of flesh from whatever it can in trying to be a strategic partner. So I think that is very important. Thirdly, France has got a great deal of interest in the Indian Ocean. Even though it's located geographically in Europe, because of its Indian Ocean territories and some in the Pacific, 90% of its exclusive economic zone, and this we must never forget, is in the Indian Ocean and the Indo-Pacific. Now, France does not have the military capacity to be able to either surveil this completely by itself or deploy adequate naval forces to protect its own EEZ from any other, inimical extra-regional powers or regional powers. So it does need a fairly robust partner in the region to be able to with that sort of support.
No doubt. Okay, we're seeing now these pictures of the President of India who've arrived and the President of France. Another hug between Modi and Macron as Prime Minister Modi greets him at Kartavya Path saluting dais. Clearly you can see there that Emmanuel Macron has truly enjoyed his experience in that buggy, the traditional buggy, which is back after 40 years. As they arrived there, of course, accompanied by the President's bodyguard. President of India Draupadi Murmu also was greeted by Prime Minister Modi. They are now, of course, being welcomed by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Minister of State for Defence is also present there. Also, meanwhile, we will be seeing the Indian Army Chief. Yes, they are on our screens now. The Indian Navy Chief and the Air Force Chief, who are also, of course, greeting the two dignitaries. CDS, General Chauhan is also present on the occasion. So these are, of course, the visuals coming in. And the Vice President of India has already gone to the saluting dais, which is where now the President of India and France will go, as well as the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Emmanuel Macron, of course, being introduced to all the dignitaries personally by PM Modi. Remember, yesterday also the PM and the President of France spent some time. They were, of course, in Jaipur, Rajasthan, where Emmanuel Macron soaked in some sights and sounds of the Pink City, the traditional, the cultural splendor, and the two also had some time for a lot of conversation, which obviously will lead to more bonhomie between India and France. So we are now minutes away from the parade officially beginning. And then, of course, also remember the 21-gun salute will happen as soon as the President of India reaches her place at the saluting dais. And remember, of course, after that, the flag hoisting, the national anthem will take place, and then the parade will begin with the showering of flower petals traditionally. Let's go live across now as the Republic Day parade for the 75th Republic Day of India begins shortly.
On the official occasion of Republic Day, 21 guns. For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.